had a lot of people ask me to show them the steps that I do in this this sourdough bread process. I gave people a hard time for a little while about baking sourdough on quarantine, and then my sister brought me a starter, and it's been she showed me how easy it is to do, and so I just want to share with you this really easy recipe. There's lots of recipes for sourdough out there, so I'm not going to say that this is the best by any means or the absolute, but I'll tell you this is one that anybody I think can do because it's really simple and it comes out amazing. And I mean, I think really that's the point. The point is if you're apprehensive about baking, this is a great one to go with because it's really it's not a very technical recipe. It takes some time and some planning ahead, but it's very doable by pretty much anybody if you follow these steps. So follow along and hopefully you'll give this. So this whole recipe starts with your sourdough starter, which I have right here that's been fed. That's a whole other talk about starting a starter and how to feed it. Each one's a little different. And my guess is in this day and age, there's enough people, you probably have a friend who's got some starter that can give you a little bit of theirs so that you can get going. But what we're gonna do to get started here with our dough is we're taking 3 cups of water. You know, usually when you're working with bread, it can be lukewarm, but reality is I've done this with cold water. I've done it matters little. So we're going to take 3 cups of water here and we're going to add starter until that goes up to 3.5. And they say it's especially good if your starter floats, but see how some of mine's floating and some of it isn't, it's totally fine. It still works. Tell me when I get there.
Yeah.
That's good. Close enough on this. And then I usually just mix that together until the water and the starter all mix together. But again, I've seen people who don't do that step.
It's also good if you let it sit for a little bit because then all the clumps just...
Right? Yeah, we'll let that dissipate. We're gonna let that sit there while we then move our attention to our only dry ingredients. And that's gonna be flour and salt. Right?
Yep.
All right, Scotty, so let's get some flour. So we do 8 cups of flour in this recipe. Since I'm no good at swoop and sweep, no matter how many times my mom tried to teach me how to do it, I just use a scale. If you've got one of these, I think this is a Costco purchase, but you can find them on Amazon. So 1 cup of all-purpose unbleached flour is 123 grams. And I usually just ask Google how much that is. I believe it's 984 grams for 8 cups. So we've got 984 grams or 8 cups of flour. And then to that, give me the tablespoon. To that, we're gonna add 1 tablespoon of salt. And that's it. Those are our only ingredients in this whole recipe. Go for it, Scotty. Good. You're a pro. All right, so I'm just going to take that flour, goes into the bowl.
Shake it around.
We might shake that. Sometimes I'll use the back of this to stir that salt in evenly throughout the flour. All right. And then you'll notice I'm using silicone. I've heard you shouldn't use anything but wood, silicone, or stainless steel. Something to do with it imparting some flavor. I haven't tried any of the other ways, and so I just use the silicone. But you can use wood, you could use stainless steel. And so why don't you just, as we pour this, let's give this one more stir because we want to try and get all of that good starter to come out. That's part of the reason that I try and mix this all together, is so that when I do the pour, all of that starter comes out nice and smooth. All right, go ahead, Scotty. Dump that in there. Go for it. There we go. All right. This is intimidating, but all we're gonna do now is just mix this together until all the dry is wet. All right, and so you can pull in here, and I'm just gonna bring this all together until there's no more dry bits. It's gonna be a pretty wet dough, but we don't have to knead this dough. We don't have to put it in the bread mixer, right? We don't have to have some fancy equipment or even really get my hands dirty. I'm just gonna mix and mix this until I get all the dry sucked up and integrated into the wet. And that means you kind of want to turn it over a few times, because there's usually a bit of flour that likes to hide down here on the bottom. So turn it over a few times and make sure you get that all out, and you're left with just a big wet dough. It's like I said, it's not going to look, it doesn't look like a finished product right now, but this is the beauty of this recipe, is it doesn't have to look pretty at this stage. It just has to taste good when it comes out at the end. And so this is a good, here, pull in here. That dough is all wet. There's no dry pieces underneath, hiding underneath. It's just wet. And so I'll usually just come around and scrape down the sides one more time and just get that all kind of centered, right? Just like that. Wet, you touch it, it's gonna stick to your fingers, right? So this gets covered, again, with a little plastic wrap or a towel, and then this can sit and raise for a minimum of 12 hours, but up to like 19 or 20 hours, this can raise, all right? And so this is the part, really, I think the part of this that it takes planning ahead, right? We understand we have to think ahead when I want to have this bread, or when I have the time to bake this bread. And sorry, I'm stepping on your toes there, huh?
It's fine.
And so that's the only complicated part of this, is planning ahead. There's no skill, there's not terrible amounts of skill required to make it. It's just a little bit of planning.
Also, just so you know, you do not need to cover the entire bowl with plastic food wrap. You can leave tiny breathing holes if it doesn't cover your enormous bowl.
All right, good point.
Thank you.
All right, so here we have our dough that's been rising for between 12 and 19 hours. You look at it, it's still pretty sticky, right? But all we've done is left that covered for, it looks like to me, about 13 hours is what this has in it. And so next, we're just gonna scrape this out onto some flour here and form it up. So I'm just using this rubber spatula, silicone. Just get that all out onto the flour. All right, here is one of the few times when a little bit of practice improves your chances, but we're just gonna try and keep it on the flour part, because like I said, this is a very sticky dough. So I just try and get a little flour on all the sticky surfaces. All right. And then I'm just gonna form this up. See, I'm kind of working in a circle and tucking under, because I wanna make this nice arch top. But even if you're not good at that, this is gonna turn out amazing. I've had loaves where I didn't have the time even to do this, and I literally just scraped it out right into the second rise bowl, and those turned out great too. So, but it's a little better if you can do this. We're just gonna form this up, and then we're gonna take it, the nice smooth part, down into a greased and floured bowl. because when we turn this out, we're gonna flip it into our Dutch oven, and so that nice arched, smooth top will come face up. But even if you don't do that, even if you just slit it out, it's gonna come out amazing, all right? Let's talk about this. I went a little fast, but let's talk about this bowl that we're rising in. So all this is a stainless steel bowl with a little cooking spray inside of it, and then I've dusted that and spread it around just a little bit of flour, and that's just gonna help it slide out the next time. So our dough's been rising for 60 minutes. It's got another 30 minutes before we can put it in the oven, but in these last 30 minutes, I'm gonna put this into and preheat my oven up to 500 degrees. So your Dutch oven or whatever receptacle you're using to cook this in goes in to warm up at 500 degrees for the last 30 minutes of your raising. The oven is now preheated. Our dough is done rising for 90 minutes for the second rise. So now is the process of getting it in the oven. So you can get this ripping hot Dutch oven
You
now.
need crazy strong hot hands.
There we go. All right, you want to dab it with a little bit of olive oil on the bottom.
Just so you know, this doesn't smell that good.
Smells good.
Yeah, it smells amazing.
All right, just a little bit, just enough. That's good. Just enough that you can move it around and kind of coat the bottom. You can also, you don't have to have one of these fancy Dutch ovens. I've seen people do it in just like a camp Dutch oven, and it turns out amazing too. But this works great. So all we're gonna do now is take this, and you may have to break the seal a little bit, but we're just gonna plop it down here, right in the center of our, come get a look here. Sometimes if I remember, I will score it with the sharp knife, which just means putting little scratches in the top. This is gonna help as this expands, for those rips to just be controlled. It's just gonna be controlled rips. But I'm just put little scratches, but this is such a wet dough, it doesn't always allow you to do that, but those rips give it character. Lid goes on. Open the oven for this guy. This goes right back into that oven that was 500 degrees. But we're gonna bake it for the first 30 minutes. It gets 450 degrees. So we're gonna get that in there for 30 minutes at 450 with the lid on. And then we're gonna come back, take that lid off, and give it another 18 minutes with the lid off.
Yes.
So it's been 30 minutes now with the lid on at 450. So all we're gonna do is, let me get close to this. We're gonna take the lid off, and we're gonna let it bake like that for another 18 minutes with the lid off. So we've let this cook for another 18 minutes with the lid off, and so now it's time to pull it out. So open this up, Scotty. All right, there it is, looking good. There we go. So we're gonna bring this out, and I'm gonna turn this out right away onto my cooling rack. Don't be discouraged if this bottom looks a little dark. You know, the oil sometimes can darken that. And it's delicious. It's even really dark. I've had it, and it's still amazing. So we're going to take this out, flip it over so that the bottom doesn't get soggy on us. They'll say you know it's done. You can tap if you pull in. Right? You get that nice hollow sound, right? But I haven't with this timing and this recipe system. I've never had one that's undercooked. Yeah, they always come out perfect and beautiful like this.
Very tasty.
And this is something that didn't require, you know, I've had friends send me pictures of theirs, and theirs look just as good as this, and most importantly, they're going to taste just as good as this one. The temptation right now is to cut into this and have a steaming hot piece of bread, which you can do, right? But the best thing I think to do is to let this cool off for at least a couple hours. Even in a couple hours, this is still going to be warm inside. It may not be
stays warm.
Yeah, it may not be melt butter warm, right? But it's going to be warm enough. Maybe you can take your butter out and put it on the counter right now, so
It's
that
still heartwarming.
But it's good because all that steam that's inside is full of flavor. And if we cut it right now, some of your nice sour flavor is going to escape. So here you have it. That's through the magic of editing. We actually baked 2 loaves of bread during this video, but they both turned out amazing. And now they're just cooling and ready for us to either cut into them, or like we said in our brownie video, these two loaves are going out to friends. There's nothing like sharing a little love when it comes to baking things in the kitchen. And so these are ready to go out, and hope this makes it easier for you to try and tackle this simple but delicious recipe. And if you have questions, leave them in the comments. I'm going to write out the entire recipe at the bottom, and until we think of something else that needs bacon, we'll sign off. High five, Scotty. That was the worst high five of all time.
Okay.
All right.
One more.
One more? Oh, got me. All right.
How about a chest bump? On a chest bump.
Oh, great. I was worried you might die.